Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus Reports. Today is August 7th, 2025, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. Got a lot of things going on. Preseason starts this weekend. We've had some joint practices between some teams that are going to play each other in preseason games this weekend. But before we get into all that, Barry's got something special for you.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. This will be the second, I believe, of our Brain Trust of the NFL, the 2025 NFL Brain Trust. Third year. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. And, still growing, still learning, still trying to perfect that. But we're going to go through that and we're going to go through it based on the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings approach to things, which is your net point rankings, which is ranked by point differential at the end of 2024. And we added in the turnover differential using the Pythagorean calculation to convert that to points so that we have a net points plus turnover point conglomeration, and we rank that from 1 to 32. So we're going to do this in 3 shows. This is the first of the 3, and we're going to go from number 32 to number 21. And then that will leave us with 10 for the next show and 10 for the show after that. So we got about 2 more shows after this. So let's get ready to rock and roll. Benny, I'm telling you, learning about these teams. And one of the things I really like is when the I see that the general manager was a baller at some point. You see that he was a baller, and I always think that should make a difference. And you're going to talk a little bit about the matchups, the preseason uh, practices, team against team, which I think are really great. I love those things, man, because I hear them all the time say, "I'm getting tired of hitting my teammates. This is no fun." They can't really let go the way they want to let go. And this is their first attempt to do so. But let's get back to the brain trust. So we're going to kick this off with the number 32 team, the team that came in absolute last place based on net points and turnover differential. And that would be the 2024 Cleveland Browns. There, Andrew Berry is the executive vice president of football operations and general manager. They wound up with the lowest uh, point score in 2024. Their average net points, including the turnover, which is what the plus means, is minus 15.6. So that means they basically lost their games by an average of about 15 points last year. So, both blowouts and, close wins all averaged together. So there's Andrew Berry. Now, the thing about Andrew Berry that I found was so interesting. Andrew Berry is out of Bel Air, Maryland. He's a Harvard graduate, played football at Harvard. He's been a scouting assistant for the Colts. He was with the Browns. He was VP of football operations for the Eagles, and then also back to the Browns. He's the youngest GM in NFL history at one point at age 32. And he's done a few things. He's had some aggressive roster building. He got Myles Garrett. He brought him in. He was involved with the trade with Deshaun Watson. So that doesn't help his his legacy. And now he's involved with one of the craziest quarterback rooms in the NFL. With it was 4 quarterbacks, Benny. They just added another quarterback.
Snoop Hundley.
And the funny thing is, everybody's talking about Shador having to come in and play right away without a lot of snaps with the ones, but they're talking about Snoop coming in and playing. He's got no snaps with anybody, so
And he'll probably get the whole second half of the preseason game.
you know what I'm saying.
It's going to
So
be tough.
here we go. Next up, we have head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, Kevin Stefanski actually, Benny, um, had a pretty good bio when I looked him up here. Number one, he's from Philadelphia. I'm sure you know that. University of Pennsylvania, a defensive back for the Quakers. He did a little coaching at Penn. He's been with the Vikings and now head coach with the Browns. He led the Browns to their first playoff win since 1994. He's known as a calm, analytic guy with a balanced offensive approach. So there you go with Kevin Stefanski as the head coach for the Cleveland Browns. Now, next up, offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, Rees. Tommy Rees is another person that I said, let me take a look and see who this guy is. Number one, he's out of Notre Dame. He was a quarterback there. He had a 23-8 record as a starter at Notre Dame. And you probably know that better than anybody because you follow all the coaching. But he worked as a graduate assistant. He was a quarterbacks coach at Notre Dame. And he's done a few other things. He helped guide the team to multiple playoff appearances. He led the Crimson Tide in Alabama to a SEC championship and a CFP berth in 2023. So he mentored Ian Book, Notre Dame's all-time winningest quarterback, known as a power run game and a play action guy. So he's aligned closely with Kevin Stefanski in terms of the way that he wants to coach. Now, next up, Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Jim's been around a long time, Benny. He went to Georgetown, has a BA in economics, 28 plus years of coaching, 28 plus, including some head coaching jobs, things of that nature. Head coach for the Lions. He's been around for a hot minute, senior defensive assistant for the Titans, now the defensive coordinator for the Browns. He was the 2023 NFL Assistant Coach of the Year. Helped Myles Garrett, became the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year. He's known to have a gruff exterior. He emphasizes effort, swagger, and badassery over his raw starts. So he likes those dominant linemen, and he's got a few. He's worked with Ndamukong Suh, Fletcher Cox, and a few of those type of guys. So there you go. Special teams coordinator and assistant head coach, Bubba Ventrone. You're the one told me and let everybody know that these special teams coaches many times are the next up for the head coach. So
when there's an interim situation that's necessary.
There you go. There you go. I always thought it was interesting that it's not the offensive coordinator, but okay, it's the assistant head coach. Now, for this young man here, Bubba, for Bubba Benny, what did we find out? We found out that Bubba is Raymond Bubba Ventrone out of Pittsburgh, went to Villanova. He was a safety, known for special teams excellence, played with the Patriots, the Jets, the Browns, and my Niners. Played in 2 Super Bowls, won Super Bowl 51 with the Patriots as a coach. Very tenacious guy. Finished his NFL career with 64 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries. He worked with the Patriots, the Colts, and now the Browns as a special teams guy and known for his intensity and attention to detail. And the last of the brain trust for the Cleveland Browns is the quarterback, Joe Flacco, the highest paid backup starter / quarterback probably active today. I wonder if I have to check. I didn't check, Benny, to see if he's actually made more money in the NFL than Aaron Rodgers as far as an active player right now. I think he might have. I think he might have Aaron because then again, I don't know. Interesting, but we know about Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco comes in and they don't even have to worry about him practicing because he's already been with the Browns. He's already won a Super Bowl. One of the things that's different about Joe Flacco and pretty much everybody else on the Browns is just his height. He's 6'6". I think he's the tallest quarterback right now on that team. Played with the Ravens, won Super Bowl with them, Super Bowl MVP. He was with the Broncos, the Jets, the Eagles briefly, Benny, the Browns, the Colts, and then back with the Browns. So he has 45,697 career passing yards and 257 touchdowns so far. He holds the record for the most passing yards and TDs by a quarterback never selected to a Pro Bowl. I thought that was an interesting stat. So right now, he looks like the starter, assuming that he stays healthy. So there you go. That's pretty much the brain trust for the Cleveland Browns, Benny. How you like that group right there?
So with the new 2025 season upon us, I look at this brain trust and I have to wonder with the situation that they're in now with the team and the players that they have, what they're going to be able to do as opposed to how last season ended. Obviously, they're the first team we're talking about. It's because they were dead last. I will say Andrew Berry has his hands full. They've taken care of just about everybody that they need to take care of as far as contract-wise is concerned. And I think he did well with that. But he's still got these two situations hanging over his head. Hopefully one won't be hanging over his head much longer, and that's the Deshaun Watson trade that he stepped in.
Stepped
And
in.
yeah, sooner or later, that's going to kind of be a thing of the past. The current one is the drafting of Shador Sanders in the 5th round. If you remember correctly and you look back at the draft, when they made that pick, the cameras immediately went to Stefanski and Berry, and their faces were like, okay. And word was they looked like that because it was the owner's decision to make that pick. Just last week, the owner did an interview and said, "Oh, no, that wasn't me. Andrew Berry made that pick." So here we go, Cleveland Brown stuff, right? And the only other thing I'll say is Kevin Stefanski is a very good head coach. He worked his way up through the Minnesota Vikings as an assistant, all the way up to offensive coordinator. He's a very good offensive mind. He's been around for a while. His resume is pretty sterling. And once he gets the pieces in place, he should be fine. Joe Flacco's a good starter, deserves to be the starter. He's playing well. I know I'm talking a lot. You want to
No,
move
you're
on to the
fine.
next team.
You're
But
fine.
Flacco doesn't need to practice a lot for reasons that you said. Also, they're saying even though he's taken all the first team snaps, a lot of them he's given away to Dylan Gabriel now because Pickett's hurt. But when he's in there, they say he's looking really, really good, man. He's healthy. He's throwing the ball on time. He's making very, very few mistakes. He looks sharp. He looks like he's ready for the season to start.
Yeah, I remember before when he was starting with them, he played some pretty good football, so you could see that he had that there. All right. So much for the Cleveland Browns, Benny. Let's see what we got up next. Next up, the Carolina Panthers. Dan Morgan, President of Football Operations General Manager. The Carolina Panthers finished up 2024 with an average net points plus score of minus 12.6. So they were in the doldrums as they finished up last year, and they had a number of things going on with them. But just to mention a little bit about him, for Mr. Dan Morgan out of Coral Springs, Florida, but originally Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania. Went to
Oh,
went to the University of Miami, played linebacker
yes,
for the Hurricanes and for the Panthers, actually. Um,
yes.
you remember
He
that
was a good player.
Pro Bowler for the Panthers. in 2001 to 2007. And he played with the Saints. Um, he was the first freshman linebacker to start for Miami since Ray Lewis.
He was a good
Inducted
player.
inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, a Nagurski Trophy, Butkus Award, and Bednarik Award winner. So he's done a lot, man. He's been a scout and assistant director of personnel. He was with Seattle from 2010 to 2017. Spent some time with Buffalo, a couple years, and then now with the Panthers as both assistant GM and now GM and president of operations. He helped build the Super Bowl Seahawks roster, and he's known to be an aggressive roster builder. So I always like to see, like I said, I always like to see when you see these GMs and they're like, yeah, that guy, he was a baller. So, he's not your regular everyday, just taking care of the paperwork type guy. He knows the game. Head coach, Dave Canales. So Dave Canales, Benny, is another one who I saw a few interesting points about. He was a wide receiver and defensive back at Azusa Pacific University. He was an offensive coordinator for high school. He was a quarterback and tight end coach for El Camino College. So he came up the ranks. He was with Seattle, offensive roles, Tampa Bay, and now head coach for the Panthers. He spent 13 years under Pete Carroll, so that should be interesting, working with Geno Smith. And he is known, he likes to have an under-center downhill run scheme with heavy personnel groupings, which, considering a quarterback, which we'll talk about, I thought was an interesting situation, something that I hadn't really noticed about that team up to this particular point. So there you go with Mr. Canales, head coach. Offensive coordinator Brad Idzik, Idzik. Brad Idzik, offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. Brad, Benny, when I looked his information up, he's a Wake Forest guy. He's got a BS in math, minor in global trade. Just love it. A wide receiver. He was a wideout. Um, Son of John Idzik Jr., former GM of the New York Jets. So he's he was a graduate assistant at Stanford, assistant wide receiver, quarterback coach for Seattle, wide receiver coach for Tampa, and offensive coordinator now for Carolina. So he's been around a little bit. He likes precision route running. Sounds like somebody you would like. Explosive vertical concepts and quarterback friendly reads. If there's ever a team that needs quarterback friendly reads, this would be the team, if you ask me. So there you go. Brad Idzik, offensive coordinator. Hero Evero. Did I say that right, Benny?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Defensive coordinator for those Carolina Panthers. Now, this young man, as I'm seeing here, he's out of Colchester, England. But his hometown is Rancho Cucamonga, California. So he's out of Cucamonga, which is one of the funnier named cities of all time. Defensive coordinator. Let's see. He was a quality control guy for Tampa Bay, special teams for University of Redlands, and he had some various roles with my San Francisco 49ers. I see Green Bay Packers, the quality control and safety coach for the Rams, secondary coach for the Rams, and a few other things. So he's been around.
I'm sorry, I have a question. How long has he been with the Panthers?
2023 to present.
Okay, yeah. So he came in with Dave Canales from the Buccaneers.
There you go.
Canales brought him with him. Yes. Okay. So I wanted to make sure.
That makes sense. Let's see. Special teams guy would be Tracy Smith for the Carolina Panthers. There's Tracy, and Tracy Hometown, Beaumont, Texas for Tracy Smith. Um, he was an offensive graduate assistant at LSU, tight ends coach for Utah State, special teams coach for Cleveland, and he coached a little bit at Seattle. He spent 2012 to 2014 with my beloved San Francisco 49ers, moved on to the Oakland Raiders and to the Houston Texans. Was with the Houston Texans as a special teams assistant coach and then became their coordinator. Also, you're talking about the Seattle Seahawks and now 2020 for the present with the Carolina Panthers. So there you have that there. Let's take a quick look and we'll be finishing up with these guys with the last part of the puzzle for Brain Trust. Quarterback, Bryce Young. I'm hearing stronger things about Bryce Young this year, but when I looked him up, when I found out about Bryce, this is what, his third year now?
Yes.
Yeah, let's see here. Bryce Young, birthplace, Wynwood, Pennsylvania. Didn't know that. Birthday's not far from mine, July 25th. I'm the 22nd.
You're coming up on a lot of local guys here lately.
You know, then I'm telling you, he was the backup to Mac Jones. Won the national championship. He won the Heisman, and he was a Sugar Bowl MVP. 3,328 yards passing and 32 touchdowns. Set Alabama's single season record for passing yards and touchdowns in 2021.
Didn't he win the Heisman?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Okay.
Yeah, he won the Heisman. Known for poise, accuracy, and football IQ. His 2025 outlook, they're saying he's surrounded by new weapons, including wide receiver Tetaroya McMillan. Old Tech McMillan there. And Hunter Renfrow. And Dave Canales has tailored his offense to his strengths. And that's where they were talking about making it an easy read. But the main thing you're going to have to make easy for him are vision lanes. He's going to have to be able to see because so many of these guys are actually admitting, and I think Purdy admitted recently that a lot of times he's throwing the ball to where it's supposed to be because he can't really see over the lineman. Oh, that's not good at all. But there you go with Bryce Young, Benny. And when we talk about the preseason, are we not going to see Bryce and Shador?
I don't know if the Panthers, for sure, we're going to see Shador, but
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if the Panthers have announced how many first teamers are going to actually play in their preseason game against the Browns. I'm thinking maybe they might give them a series or something, or a couple series or a quarter, but I could be wrong. I don't know. They do have the Red Rifle there as their backup, so he may start instead. The one thing I will say about Bryce Young is, yes, the word on the street is that he's looking really good. He finished out the season pretty strong last season, and the new rookie wideout, Ted McMillan, is his new security blanket. They're showing a very, very strong connection in training camp, and I expect that to carry over into the season. And he's already got great hands and great route runners in Adam Thielen and my man Renfrow that they got from the Raiders. So that's good for Bryce Young. The only other thing I'll say is about the head coach, Dave Canales, worked really well with Baker Mayfield at the Buccaneers. That's where he perfected that offensive game plan. And that game plan was carried on by another head coach that we're going to talk about a little bit later, but who now is with a new team. Yeah, that it's going to take him a minute since he just got there and Bryce Young just got there. That downhill run scheme to be the strength of their offense is going to take a minute for them to actually get that going. But I believe you're going to see a big improvement in the Carolina Panthers this season.
Okay. So you like Canales?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Bryce. Have a good year.
Canales was the offensive coordinator for Tom Brady.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Well, that don't hurt. That don't hurt at all. Let's move on to the yeah. The Tennessee Titans. Tennessee. I like that word actually. Brian Callahan. They finished up also 2024 with an ANP plus of minus 12.4. So again, these are teams that are averaging a loss. And so in so many cases, based on points. Now, Brian Callahan out of Champaign, Illinois, went to UCLA. He was a quarterback and holder. That's the first time I've heard one of these guys being a holder.
Quarterbacks used to always be the holder.
The second string quarterback, right? Not the starter.
Tony Romo was a holder, remember?
Was
In
he?
college, it's pretty common.
Okay, okay.
Or it was pretty common, put it that way.
And he's the son of NFL coach Bill Callahan. So
Offensive line coach.
graduate assistant at UCLA, OC and QB coach at Junipero Sierra High School. He spent some time with the Broncos, the Lions, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Titans. He was part of the Broncos Super Bowl 50 championship staff, helped develop Joe Burrow, and was hired as the 20th head coach of the Titans franchise in January of 2024. He was 3-14 in his first season, mirroring Zach Taylor's early rebuild in Cincinnati. He now has a quarterback. We won't talk about him until his time comes up, but it's coming soon. He's known for quarterback development, offensive creativity, and resilience under pressure. And so that's that for him. Next up, we have his offensive coordinator, Nick Holz, Holz. Nick, from what I found, is out of Walnut Creek, California. Went to the University of Colorado, was a wide receiver and a holder. I just said I didn't know much about holders, and then I'm running the two in a row. And offensive coordinator now for the Titans. He spent time at Nebraska, Stanford. He was with the Raiders, UNLV, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now the Tennessee Titans. He worked with Andrew Luck at Stanford and Hunter Renfrow when he was with the Raiders. His wide receivers led the NFL in yards per reception, and Nelson, how you like this? Nelson Aguilar posted his career highs under him. He actually was catching stuff, so
he's still playing.
Hey, there you go. So he blends the West Coast spread and no huddle concepts into his offense, known for adaptability, player development, and collaborative approach. So there you go for Nick Holz. He looks like somebody might want him for a head coach job pretty soon. Denard Wilson, defensive coordinator for the Titans, Benny. I know you know that name because if I even kind of recognize it, I know you know it. Upper Marlboro, Maryland, University of Maryland is where he was educated. He played safety, was signed by the Redskins in 2004. He was an assistant coach at DeMatha, the historic DeMatha Catholic High School. Passing game coordinator for Maryland. He was with the Rams, St. Louis, the Jets, the Eagles as a DB coach and defensive pass game coordinator with the Ravens, and now with the Titans. He's coached elite defensive backs, Jamal Adams, Darius Slade, James Bradbury, and Kyle Hamilton. Helped lead the Eagles to Super Bowl, 57? And the Rams to their number one scoring defense in 2023. So he's an aggressive guy who likes to disguise his defenses, and he's known for his versatility. So there you go, as the Mr. Denard Wilson, defensive coordinator for the Titans. Special teams guy, John Fassel. Jimmy Christmas, John. How long has John been around here, Benny?
John Fassel, man, his name should be John Fossil. He's been around forever.
Oh my goodness. Now, Benny, I don't. He was a wide receiver at Weber State. He was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Colts. Nickname is Bones for his thin frame, son of the late Jim Fassel. And maybe that's why he seemed like he'd been around forever. We just got generations of Fassels going on here.
Yeah, right.
And the Jim and John thing, is bad enough I get the Harbaugh Jim and John mixed up. Now we got the Fassels Jim and John to get mixed up too. Okay, so next up after the special teams coordinator is quarterback one, Cam Ward. And Benny, I know you're going to have a few things to say about Cam. Cam is somebody that we kind of really like coming out of college, and it's good to see that he could get a start there with the Titans. Now, Cam Ward, let's see, gosh, Benny, born 2002. So young. 6'2", 219. Went to Incarnate and Washington State and Miami. First round, first overall pick by the Titans. Jerry Rice Award winner. Started for 2 seasons, built his national reputation at Washington. ACC Player of the Year in 2024. Davey O'Brien and Manning Award consensus All-American. Set Miami's single season record for passing, 4,313 yards, touchdowns 39, and had a 67.2 completion percentage. So they expect him to start week 1 against the Broncos. That'll be an interesting start, right? Against the Broncos of all people. Head coach praised him for his growth and leadership, noting his command of the offense and his maturity. And I know I had said he would be fine after he had that statement about his dad waking up at 4:30 in the morning to go to a job he didn't like. So he didn't have a problem waking up at 4:30 to go to his dream job here. His mindset is to wake up and watch film. He's intensely focused, avoids distraction, and values routine. So he is the cousin of Quandre Diggs and Quentin Jammer. Didn't know that. He wears a vintage Rolex that belonged to his late grandfather as a tribute to his family's work ethic. So there's Cam Ward. That finishes up the Tennessee Titans. Benny, what do you got on them?
All those great things that you said about Cam Ward are really great things. I think he's a wonderful young man, great work ethic, fast learner, and all that. And that's good because it's going to be a challenging season for him in the Tennessee Titans. Skill position wise, they're not exactly, something to write home about. The best wide receiver they've got is Calvin Ridley. They also got an aging Tyler Lockett playing at the other wideout position. And their running game wasn't that great last year, and they're basically running it back with the same guys. Hopefully their offensive line gets better. They may have to lean on their defense quite a bit, which I'm not going to say is going to be formidable, but it's probably going to end up being the strength of the team. So Brian Callahan's got his work cut out for him. The good thing is he's pretty good with an offense. I mean, he worked under Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. He helped groom Joe Burrow. So all that's, good things, but I think they're going to be good things for the future and not necessarily the near future. It's going to be a tough season for the Titans.
Okay. That's an interesting take on that there. Tough season for the Titans. Well, let's see who's up next for the Titans. The Las Vegas Raiders. General Manager John Spytek. Last year, they finished up 2024 with an average net point plus of -11. So John has got his work cut out for him what I have on John is that he is, first of all, he's from Wisconsin, went to the University of Michigan, was a linebacker at Michigan, was a teammate of Tom Brady as a freshman. He spent time with the Lions, the Eagles, the Browns, the Broncos, the Buccaneers, and now the Raiders as he's moved up the ranks from an intern to a general manager. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion. He won Super Bowl 50 with Denver and what's that, 55 with Tampa Bay. Known to be analytical, and he's nicknamed the Whiz Kid. Okay, Mr. Whiz Kid. So he's helped draft people like Devin White, Tristan Wirfs, and Antoine Winfield Jr. He had a key role in signing Tom Brady and Shaq Barrett and trading for Rob Gronkowski, probably the smartest thing he could have done. In his first year with the Raiders, he has selected Ashton Jeanty, Jack Beck, and cornerback Darian Porter. So he's apparently highly intelligent, has a good presence and a great work ethic. Co-founded the National CMV Foundation in honor of his daughter who passed away from congenital CMV. So there you go. That kicks that off for the Raiders with Mr. Spy Tech. Head coach Pete Carroll. Man, Pete Carroll be out there running wind sprints with them young boys.
Oh, that's the youngest old guy I know.
Pete Carroll is no joke, man. Hometown, San Francisco, California. Went to the University of the Pacific, was a defensive back in college at Miami and Pacific. Head coach for the Raiders now, has 30 years as a coach and an executive. Then he was a DB coach for the Bills, the Vikings. He was with the Jets, the Niners, the Patriots, back to USC, the Seattle Seahawks, and now with the Raiders. One of only 3 coaches to win both a college national championship and a Super Bowl. So that don't happen too often. And so they're looking to do a full rebuild on here. He brought in Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty. That's some good choices right there. Known for his energy, positive culture building, and player empowerment. So there we have one of the fun guys here, and I think he's gonna create some waves over there in that division. Mr. Carroll, we shall see. Well, this could be questionable. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. I put out, I have a meme thing that I put out where he's talking to the owner of the Eagles, and the owner of the Eagles say, "Are you sure about that? The more downs than everybody else theory." It's more important for him to get downs than control the clock. You know, he didn't care about
That's
the clock.
exactly what he said. Yes, he said it was more important.
It was more important. So I was
I think he's rethought that.
like, it was more important. It worked in college, and you told me that it worked in college because you had all those guys in college. You got 100 players, and you can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Charles Edward Chip Kelly is his name. Went to the University of New Hampshire. He was a defensive back, Benny. So here you got a defensive guy that became an offensive coordinator, been a head coach. He was assistant coach at Columbia, Johns Hopkins. He was at Oregon with the Ducks there. He was with the Eagles for a hot minute. He was with my beloved Niners for a hot minute. Went back to UCLA, Ohio State, and now with the Raiders. So that was an interesting pick as far as I was concerned. I mean, I really, I wasn't expecting that, but he shows up at the weirdest of times and the weirdest of places. So Chip Kelly. Next up, Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator for the Raiders, Benny Patrick Graham. Let's see here. He is from Connecticut, went to Yale, Benny, a defensive lineman at Yale, much less, and over 17 years of NFL experience. Um, let's see, he was a graduate assistant at Wagner College, Richmond, Notre Dame, and became an assistant coach with the Patriots. He was your DL coach, the defensive line coach with the Giants, Benny. He was with the Packers, the Dolphins, back with the Giants, and now with the Raiders. He won a Super Bowl with those Patriots, known for schematic versatility, and has coached people like Max Crosby. So there you go with that. Let's see who's up next. Special teams coordinator would be, Tom McMahon. Tom McMahon, he went to Carroll College. He was a quarterback. And he's now the special teams coordinator. But again, he was a player. He was with the Falcons, the Rams, the Chiefs, the Colts, the Broncos. So he's been around for a hot minute. And he led the NFL in net punting average, or his teams did anyway, while he was coaching. Let's see here. His son is the producer for the Pat McAfee show, Benny. Maybe we can get him to turn that thing down a little bit when it comes on. So that was an interesting thing. And then Geno Smith, back with his coach, now a Raider. Geno Smith, Benny, don't have to say much about him. You probably know as much as anybody. But West Virginia is where he went to college. Geno's 6'2". So again, he ain't the tallest of guys. He was with the Jets. He was a backup with your Giants, with the Chargers, and then he was with the Seahawks as a backup and a starter. Now he is with the Raiders. So we're looking. Let me see here. Signed a $75 million 2-year extension with the Raiders. So he's there now trying to build some chemistry with the likes of that Ashton Genty young man. So then he said he's known for his deep ball accuracy. I don't know about that. Poise under pressure and resilience. And they expect him to thrive in Chip Kelly's fast-paced offensive system. I never considered him a fast-paced offensive player, but that wraps up the LA Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, rather, excuse me. What do you got on that?
Okay, first thing first, let me get to Geno. Who made DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett famous besides Russ? There you go, Geno.
Geno, that's it.
Now, DC Patrick Graham, here's what I find interesting about him. This is his 4th season as the defensive coordinator for the Raiders. That means he was the DC for John Gruden, Rich Bisciotti, and Josh McDaniels before this. So he's doing something right. They like him there. The owner and the GM definitely like him there. And usually head coaches pick their coordinators. But this guy's been able to hold on to his job even through these different coordinators. So I got to give him respect for that. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, say what you will about this guy. And believe me, most of the things I've heard are negative and not positive. But the guy knows offense. And for him to be, or for him to appear to be, when he first came into the league into the NFL as an offensive coordinator, a stick in the mud, hard-headed, my way or the highway guy, he has really evolved over the last few years. And his last stop was offensive coordinator at Ohio State University, which is the national champions. Okay. And of course, we could talk about Pete Carroll all day. Like I said, youngest old guy I know, very spry. As you mentioned, he's known as a culture builder, and that's probably why the Raiders were happy to get him in there, because they are in need of a culture builder. And I believe that the Raiders are going to be much improved this season. I don't know if maybe I shouldn't say much improved, but they will be improved.
Okay.
And when we get to talking about the teams and the divisions and stuff, you're going to hear me say this again. Look at the coaches, the head coaches in the AFC West. It's crazy. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid. Who am I missing?
Denver, right?
Peyton, Sean Payton. Yo, that's a who's who of head coaches.
Of his coaches, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. AFC West is starting to look crazy, man. But anyway, I like the Raiders.
All right. Gotta like the Raiders. Well,
I like their prospects, let's say that.
we both like Ashton. We can't wait to see Ashton run.
Oh, absolutely.
Can't wait to see that for sure. All right, there you go, Gino. Next up, we have your New York Football Giants. Joe, how you say his last name?
Shane.
Shane. Senior VP and General Manager, 2024 ANP was minus 10.4. So, Joe, you got some work to do for sure. Now, what the skinny on Joe that I have here, where is it at? Here it is. All right. Went to DePaul, was a quarterback as a freshman and a wide receiver in his final 3 years at DePaul. He has 20 plus years in scouting and front office roles. He is with the Panthers, the Dolphins, the Bills, and your Giants. He hired Brian Daboll in 2022. We're going to talk about that, and brought in some key people. Kayvon Thibodeau, Malik Neighbors, to name a few, and has recently signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston so that he had the most entertaining quarterback room in the NFL.
Entertaining.
But yeah, there you go. Joe Shane, and of course, he's infamous for the loss of one.
I'm not helping you.
Saquon. Or as he would say in the commercial, stay calm. Stay calm, Barkley. Brian Daboll, head coach, Benny. Brian Daboll, now, you think, when you watch these shows during the day, they're always asking who's on the hot seat and who's not on the hot seat. I don't know if Brian Daboll's on the hot seat. I'll let you mention that a little bit later. But he's out of the University of Rochester. He was a safety at Rochester. He's been with as an assistant at William and Mary, Michigan State, the Patriots, the Jets, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Patriots. He was at Alabama with the national champion there, and the Bills, and then wound up with the Giants. They say he won 5 Super Bowls as an assistant with the Patriots, named NFL Coach of the Year in 2022, and was the first person to win the NFL Assistant Coach and Head Coach of the Year honors. So he's been around a little bit, emphasizes preparation, adaptability, and accountability. He says, hype doesn't get you anywhere, action does. So he likes action, as the old song would say here. Action. Mike Kafka, is your assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. Mike Kafka. What I have on Mike, Benny, is that Mike is out of Northwestern University. He was a quarterback. He's got 9+ years of coaching experience. He was with the Chiefs and then the Giants. He was a quarterback coach, offensive quality control coach with the Chiefs. He helped Patrick Mahomes into an MVP and Super Bowl championship. And so he's got that as in his background. He oversaw the breakout rookie year of Malik Neighbors and developed listen to this, developed Tommy DeVito into a surprise mid-season starter in 2023, working closely with Russell and Jameis while mentoring Jackson Dart. And from what I understand, Benny, is it between Dart and Winston to be fighting for the backup to Russell? Well, we can talk about that when we finish that part. He's known for his quarterback-centric approach, collaborative play design, and situational adaptability. So there you go, offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen is your defensive coordinator now. Shane, Benny, Georgia Tech. All right. He is out of Pickerington, Ohio. He's a linebacker at Georgia Tech. And let's see now. He was a graduate assistant at Ohio State, Kennesaw State. He was with the Texans and the Titans before he came to your Giants. He was promoted to the Titans DC in 2021. His units consistently ranked among the NFL's best in rushing defense and red zone efficiency. So if you can get that, his reputations for discipline, creativity, and player development. So if you can get that going, your Giants could make some noise, Benny, if he gets his way. Your special teams coach is Michael Gobriel. I hope I said that right, Mike. He's the special teams coordinator. What I have on him is that he's out of Torrance, California, went to UCLA.
Gobriel, I think it is.
Say it again.
I'm sorry. Gobriel. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No problem. Go.
I was thinking out loud.
He was a defensive end for the UCLA Bruins. So he played 4+ years. He has 4+ years in NFL coaching and 12+ years in college coaching. So he's been around doing some coaching for a hot minute. And then we have Russell Wilson, or as my wife would say, Russell Wilson. He's a big Russell fan there. And Russell Wilson, we don't have to say a whole bunch about him. We know, he's well known. So I'm going to let you pretty much cover whatever you want to say about Russell rather than me going through my references for that. So as the quarterback, that wraps up the New York Football Giants brain trust, Benny. What do you think?
Okay, so I think the Giants, let me say off the top, Giants are my team. Obviously, I'm biased. Honestly, I really think they're going to show good amount of improvement this year. Here's the thing. Russell Wilson, although he didn't look great with Pittsburgh last year, I think he still got gas in the tank. I also think that the Steelers' offense was pretty rudimentary last year. They didn't really have a good running game. They didn't use the tight ends like they should have. There was a lot of things wrong with that offense that, in fact, Justin Fields could have covered up and started the season and was kind of covering up some of those deficiencies with the skills that he has that Russell didn't have. But that's a story for another day. Now that Russell is under Daboll, a much more versatile thinker offensively than I believe his name is Arthur Smith, who's the offensive coordinator for Steelers. I think you're going to see a better half of Russell Wilson. I think he's going to adapt to this offense and have a heck of a lot more success with this offense now. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen has got himself quite a defense under his belt. The Giants have made some mistakes recently in the draft and in free agency. But one thing they've gotten right is they've started to slowly and methodically build their defense. I mentioned several times last season the big improvement in the defensive line. And I said, now all they got to do is fix the back end. Well, they're still in the process of it, but they're pointing in the right direction as far as fixing the back end. Their defense is going to be pretty formidable this year. I just hope that we can find the end zone enough for to win some games when the defense actually keeps the other team's score down. The defense is going to be really good. So that's a good thing for Shane Bowen. I hope he handles it well. He came up under Mike Vrabel as a coordinator for Mike Vrabel when he was with the Titans. The offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, is an Andy Reid disciple. So I like that. He's going to bring a lot of that over with him to Brian Daboll, the head coach. But I believe Brian Daboll is still going to be calling the plays. He is still the real offensive play caller on game day. But the two of them together, they've got a lot to offer in offense. They just have to get players in position. They've pretty much got the skill positions squared away. That offensive line is still a work in progress. One big deal I think is going to happen here, and people here in Philadelphia will know what I'm talking about. Mekhi Becton came into the league as a tackle with the New York Jets. He struggled a bit. Went to the Eagles. They made him a gigantic guard. The rest is history. Well, Evan Neal, Alabama, came into the NFL with the Giants as a tackle. Struggled as a tackle. Guess where he's going to play at this season? Big giant guard. Copycat league, baby. I hope it works. I hope it works.
So go ahead.
As far as Joe Shane is concerned, obviously, you know, the Saquon thing, I'm tired of talking about that and explaining it. But neither Shane nor Dayball was really married to the offense or the quarterback that was here when they got here. They now have Jackson Dart, who they got in the first round of a draft. So as far as the hot seat thing is concerned, I think the owners of the Giants have decided to give them a little reprieve and give them a chance to build this offense under Jackson Dart. When he's ready, he's obviously going to be the future of this team at quarterback. And if Russell Wilson can be the proper placeholder, the best is yet to come for the Giants.
So I understand Russell and what's your receiver's name? The great receiver?
Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors have a nice connection.
Great connection. People forget Malik Neighbors. If you just look up his numbers, you go, wow, this guy had a great season.
Right.
And think back to last season. He played with 4 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
4. Drew Lock was one of them. Are you kidding me? And he still put up those numbers.
Still put up those numbers.
Him and Russ are going to be nice.
Yeah. If you like rainbow passes dropping in you.
It's Russ's specialty.
Good. That should be good. All right, Benny. That's your New York Football Giants. Very good there. And good luck with that. And who's your running back again? You got a good running back.
Well, we got Tyrone Tracy as the de facto starter.
Right.
We have Cam Scatterboo we got in the draft, who's been showing off quite a bit in training camp. I don't know if they're going to go to a 2-back system or if Scatterboo is going to win the starting job. I'm not sure. But he's been looking good in camp. I think we got a nice little 1-2 punch. Should be interesting.
Should be interesting. You know, I like Scatterboo anyway. He's a fun guy. And he was a little hurt, but he's okay now, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So, excellent, excellent. All right, who's up next? The Jacksonville Jaguars. General manager is James Gladstone. Now, Jacksonville had a 2024 average net point plus of minus 10.4. So, Mr. Gladstone has his work cut out for him. What I have on Gladstone, Benny, is that he's out of Missouri, first and foremost. He went to Westminster College and Lindenwood University. He was a wide receiver at one time and a 2-time captain and BSN All-American. He had 9 years with the Los Angeles Rams. So he came in, he's with the Rams. He was a senior assistant to the GM, and he spent most of the time there with the Rams before going to Jacksonville. He was involved with drafting Cooper Kupp Puka Nakua, Jared Verse, Andrew Whitworth, and Robert Woods, and helped the Rams win Super Bowl 56 in 2021. At one point, he was the youngest GM in the NFL, and as this year, it looks like that way. He engineered the blockbuster trade for Travis Hunter. So we're going to see how they wound up with that. And he's described by Shad Khan, the owner, as a class ahead with exceptional vision, communication, and understanding of the league. So he's known to be a strategic thinker, scouting, innovator, and collaborative team builder. So there you go with what we're kicking off as the GM, Mr. Gladstone. I didn't know all that about him, so I got to give it to him. Liam Cohn. I just remember Liam when they was it what is it that they say Duval?
Oh God, first of all, this dude looks like a cartoon character, does he not? Every time I see him, I want to say, dude, fix your face. But that's his face.
That's his face, Benny. What you gonna say?
So they play in Duval County.
They do.
So the thing is, you say Duval like that. He goes Duval. Weirdo. But yeah.
Well,
that's my man now.
He was a quarterback at the University of Massachusetts, Benny. He has 6 career passing records. You know? All right, Mr. Duval. What else does he have here? Let's see. He was a quarterback coach at Brown. He was with Rhode Island, UMass, Maine. He was assistant coach with the Rams. He went to Kentucky, back with the Rams, back to Kentucky. Offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers before becoming the head coach with the Jaguars. He's going to have to do his cultural and schematic overhaul. And he's known for complex offensive systems featuring shifts, motions, and quarterback autonomy, which we'll see how his quarterback likes that. And let's see here. He's known to be innovative, demanding, and player-focused, prioritizing open communications, mental toughness, and situational adaptability. So don't mess with him too much, Benny. He thinks he knows what he's doing. We're going to have to see.
Oh, he does. He just looks funny. He knows what he's doing.
Well, he's got Grant Udinski as the offensive coordinator there for those Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Mr. Udinski is from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Went to Davidson College and Towson University. He was a tight end at Davidson and a defensive end at Towson. He's now the offensive coordinator. He spent time with coaching at Baylor, the Panthers, the Vikings, which is where he spent a good period of time. Looked like he came into the Vikings in 2022. So he's been there for a few years. Let's see, one of the youngest coordinators in the NFL. He works closely with Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see how this works out for him. Supposed to be detailed-oriented, innovative, and player-focused. So there you got your offensive coordinator. So I wonder what it must be like for the offensive coordinator when they got a two-way player. You know, it's like we got to fit him in this here, just a certain amount, not too much. Anyway, well, speaking of not too much, Anthony Campanile is the defensive coordinator, and I think they're gonna play Hunter, the two-way guy, mostly on offense and situationally on defense. So we'll see how that all works out. But for him, Mr. I'm going to say Campanile, as opposed to anything else. He's out of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. Went to Rutgers, Benny. Played safety and linebacker. So he's been with a few different colleges, including Rutgers in Boston, Michigan. But he was with the Dolphins and the Packers. before coming to Jacksonville. So let's see here. He oversaw in Miami, he oversaw a defense that ranked top 10 in sacks, defensive rushing, and takeaways. So he could help this defense a little bit. They're going to need it in order to get out of that negative realm there. That's defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile. We have a special teams coordinator, Heath Farwell. So Heath Farwell, Benny, from what I understand in my research here, is out of Fontana, California. Went to San Jose State and San Diego State. A linebacker. Played with the Vikings and Seattle. And so he's got some pro player experience. He was assistant coach with the Panthers and the Bills, special teams coordinator, rather. And now he's with Jacksonville. And then to close out Jacksonville, we have I keep wanting to call him the Prince, like they call him on the one show on TV, but that's not fair. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Benny, Trevor Lawrence is, I hear him talking about Trevor, and everything gets put in perspective to the contract that he has and how much they're expecting from him. The contract. He's a 6'6", 220 pounds out of Clemson. Led Clemson to a national title as a freshman. Okay, selected number 1 overall by the Jaguars in 2021. He was a Pro Bowler, known for strong arm mobility and poise under pressure. So I'll let you finish out talking about him, but that wraps up the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you got?
Okay, so the Jaguars' future is really wrapped up in how well Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to assimilate to Liam Cohen's offense. It's not a simple offense. It's a complex offense. It's run-oriented, screen pass-oriented, pick and pop, drag you down the field, and hit you with the big one, Baker Mayfield style. Did a great job with Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield is a veteran quarterback who handled learning that system pretty easily. It wasn't the same as Canales. In other words, Cohen took over for Canales when Canales got hired by the Panthers. He did not initially adopt all of Canales' offense. He put in his own stuff, and he was very successful. He's had a great season last year. So now he's taking that offense to the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence has all the physical gifts in the world. If he can master this offense, you will see the Jaguars do a lot better. Defensively, they struggle. I don't know what they're going to need to do to fix that. But yeah, if they're going to improve, and I don't even want to put a stamp on this one because I really don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on the Jaguars.
All right. Wait and see on the Jaguars. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. We'll have to wait and see. Let's move on to the next team. The New England Patriots. Elliott Wolf is considered the de facto GM. So whatever that means, that's how he was listed. The average net points plus was minus 9.9 for 2024. So that's Elliott Wolf. Now, what I found out about Mr. Wolf, he's out of Oakland, California, went to the University of Miami. He's got 20 years in scouting and front office roles. He's done different roles for Green Bay, Cleveland, the Patriots, where he spent from 2022 present. So he's been around with the Patriots for some time. He's the son of Hall of Fame GM Ron Wolf. He followed. There you go. In his father's footsteps, the long tenure in Green Bay, contributing to the team's Super Bowl, 45 victory? I got to read my Roman numerals here. And so So he joined the Patriots in 2020, steadily rose through the ranks, culminating in his promotion following Bill Belichick's departure. So he oversees the entire personnel department, including draft strategy, free agency, salary cap management, and the 53-man roster decision. Oh, I know when that comes up soon, Benny. It's always an interesting thing. Cut down day, right? No more
Yep.
90. So Elliot Wolf. Head coach Mike Vrabel coming into the New England Patriots. Now, you're talking about Mr. Patriot here, Mike Vrabel. I didn't know he was born in Akron, Ohio. Went to Ohio State, Benny, as a matter of fact. Linebacker for the Steelers, Patriots, Chiefs, and now is the head coach. So he's been a linebacker. We all know that his time with the Patriots was very successful. He won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots. He was named NFL Coach of the Year in 2021. And he's in the Patriots Hall of Fame as of 2023. Known for his grit, charisma, and player-first mentality, emphasizes effort, finish, and accountability. So Mike Vrabel, everybody's favorite Patriot. I don't know about that, but anywho, Josh McDaniels. So Josh McDaniels, let's see now, if I remember correctly, he was there and then he wasn't. But he's back. Barberton, Ohio is where he's from. Went to John Carroll University, was a wide receiver there. And I guess he never really left. Looks like he never really left here. Timeline says that he was with the Patriots. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, he had a short stint with the Raiders as the head coach. So like I said, he was with the Patriots, then he wasn't. Now he's back with the Patriots. All right. I knew something happened there. Implementing a dual threat quarterback system tailored to Drake May's mobility, including design runs and bootlegs. So it's going to be interesting. He's got Tre'Veyon Henderson and Antonio Gibson as running backs, and he likes to adapt his playbook to his personnel. So supposedly he's known for play calling, creativity, situational awareness, and quarterback development. I think one of the things I was trying to remember earlier was from the herd is he was talking about how much he likes offensive head coaches as opposed to defensive head coaches. He thinks that they're much effective in the NFL. So it'll be interesting to see how Josh does now with this group. Terrell Williams is the defensive coordinator. As far as Terrell is concerned, he is out of Los Angeles, California, went to East Carolina University, was a nose guard, as a matter of fact. There you go. Now he's the defensive coordinator. He was a coach with the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Lions, and now the Patriots. So he's been around a little bit, and he's known for teaching a violent, trigger-pulling style of play. Well, that should be interesting. Violent, trigger-pulling. I've never heard of a trigger-pulling style of play. Have you, Benny? You ever heard of that?
No.
Jeremy Springer is the special teams coordinator for the Patriots. Mr. Springer, let's see here, is out of Texas, Harlingen, Texas. Went to the University of Texas, was a quarterback and a linebacker at UTEP. Now he's a special teams coordinator. So all of that capability for the different positions, knows how the different positions work, but he wound up in special teams. So we'll see how that all works for him. He's been around a little bit. He's known for technical precision, player development, and emphasis on fundamentals. And then to wrap up the Patriots, we have quarterback Drake May. Drake May, Benny, is no question that he's going to be the starter, I don't think. So as far as Drake May is concerned, 6'4", 225. out of Huntersville, North Carolina, went to the University of North Carolina. Was picked number 3 in the first round of 2024. Named ACC Player of the Year in 2022. Set the UNC single season records with 4,321 passing yards and 38 touchdowns. So he's been around. He played a lot of football, and it looks like he's going to lead the Patriots into contention under this new regime that they built there in New England. So what do you got on them? Excuse me.
Well, head coach Mike Vrabel. I mean, you can't say Mike Vrabel without thinking New England Patriots. This is a dream job for him. Like you said, the general manager was the de facto general manager. That's probably because Mike Vrabel pretty much has last say as far as personnel is concerned. So personnel, the draft, free agency, Vrabel's got a big hand in all of that stuff. It's not just up to the GM. Vrabel, if my guess is right, he has final say along with the owner because him and Kraft have been together for how long?
Yeah.
They got matching rings on every finger. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. Josh McDaniels has been a head coach in the NFL twice, and he failed miserably.
Yeah, that's not his thing.
But as an offensive coordinator, he's tough. He's a great offensive mind, works very well with quarterbacks. I think him and Drake May are going to have fun together. I believe that the Patriots are on their way up. I think they've made some improvements on the defense without getting into specifics that will show when they first start to play. I like the Bills to win that division, but who comes in second between the Patriots and the Jets is going to be a close call.
And the Dolphins.
No, I don't. I'm not including the Dolphins in that. But yeah, no, the Patriots are going to be tough.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I look at them. I love Drake May. I really do. He's big. He's strong. He's got the arm. He's not afraid. He will take off and run on you. He's pretty accurate. And the second half of the season, when he had to come in and play, he played well. Didn't play great. He played well. They got a decent run game. Ramondre Stevenson will probably be starting running back. Gibson's third down back. And they drafted Travion Henderson, I believe, from national champion Ohio State.
Right.
So let's see what we can do here. I like the prospects for the Patriots.
So Drake May, and we're going to see if the Patriots can make some noise. All right, next up, Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones, owner, president, general manager, and all of that. And he wound up with 2024 with an average net points plus of minus 8.5. He's more interested in drama, I think, sometimes. But Jerry Jones, whose name is Gerald Wayne Jones, Jerral. I've never heard Gerald before. That's a new name as far as I'm concerned. He's out of LA, born in LA, went to the University of Arkansas, was an offensive lineman and co-captain of the Arkansas 1964 National Championship team, Benny. We were pretty young back then. He purchased the Cowboys in 1989 for $140 million. It's worth billions now, 10 billion as a matter of fact. Revolutionized NFL marketing and sponsorships, including stadium naming rights and merchandising. So he's been in the news a lot. I won't say a whole bunch because I'm sure you'll have some things to say about that. But there's your owner and GM combo there, Benny. So he's one of the few owners that got into the show here because he's holding that GM title. However, head coach is Brian Schottenheimer of the classic, I don't know, classic is the word, of the Schottenheimer family out of Denver, went to the University of Florida, was a quarterback in Kansas and at Florida. He was a member of Florida's 1996 championship team. Let's see, he coached a little bit at Syracuse. He was a quarterback coach for the Chargers, offensive coordinator for the Jets, the Rams, went back to University of Georgia, quarterback coach for the Colts, offensive coordinator for Seattle, passing game coordinator for Jacksonville, a consultant for the Cowboys, and now head coach, consultant and offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He's son of legendary NFL coach Marty Schottenheimer, and he's coached under Pete Carroll, Mike McCarthy, and Dick Vermeil. Woohoo! Crystal's favorite, one of her favorite coaches there, Dick Vermeil. Wonder if he ever made him cry. Let's see what we have here. So there you go. Mr. Brian Schottenheimer, head coach. That's a heck of a job, man. Head coach under that owner, GM. Whew. Clayton Adams, offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. And, you know, it seems like a position that you don't hear a lot of people call his name out a lot. You know what I'm saying? When they're talking about the Cowboys. But Clayton Adams is out of Sacramento, California. Went to Boise State, was an offensive lineman at Boise State. He spent some time coaching there, Western Washington, Sacramento State, and eventually became an assistant O-line tight ends coach with the Colts and the Cardinals, and now is the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Is supposedly known for expertise in run game design and blocking scheme and pre-snap motions. So we'll have to see how that all works out. So pre-snap motions, eh? That's interesting. Somehow I don't know if I remember a whole bunch about that doing that, but we'll talk about that a little later. Matt Eberflus. And some of these guys just get job after job, don't they? Defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. This is one of those things where you always say betting is about who you know. These guys keep a job. Matt Eberflus out of Toledo, Ohio, went to the University of Toledo where he was a linebacker. He's been with the Browns, the Cowboys, the Colts, the Bears, and back with the Cowboys. Known to be relentless and introduced the motto, no house guests, to reinforce his run defense toughness. So there you go, Mr. Eberflus. And special teams coordinator is Nick Sorensen. Nick out of Santa Clara, went to Virginia Tech, was a safety and linebacker. And let's see, played safety and special teams with the Rams, the Jaguars, and the Browns. And he coached a little bit in college at Youngstown State, but he was with Seattle from 2013 to 2020. And then he went with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was with my Niners for a hot minute. Looks like it from 2022 to 2024. So you got the special teams coordinator, and we all know Dak Prescott, quarterback for those Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to talk a lot about Dak because I'm sure you've got all the things that we really need to know about Mr. Dakota. So I'll leave it there. Benny, what do you got for the Cowboys?
Okay, I was real quick trying to see. Right. I was thinking about how come I never heard of Clayton Adams' name? And that's because he's been an offensive line coach and a tight ends coach for most of his NFL career. This is his first offensive coordinator job this season. So I would venture to guess that head coach Brian Schottenheimer has a lot more play calling time and offensive scheme work under his belt than his offensive coordinator does. But it seems like his offensive coordinator has some ideas about pre-snap motion and things like that. It's probably a real good film study guy and will do most of his work in the offensive game planning. But Schottenheimer will probably be getting the job done on the field on game day. So that's how I see the Cowboys operations of the operation of the Cowboys offense going on this year. Now, I do think, and of course, we live in Philadelphia, so you're not going to hear an Eagles fan say anything good about the Cowboys. But I think the Cowboys are a little underrated this year, just a little bit. When I talk about some of their practices in their preseason camp, it may not sound like that, but I think they might be a little bit more dangerous than people are expecting them to be. I'm not saying the Eagles have anything to fear. I just think that, people have been crapping on Dak Prescott so much, it's getting to become a habit. And it's like he can't do anything right. And anything wrong that happens is either his fault or Jerry Jones's fault. Jerry Jones got this Micah Parsons thing hanging around his neck right now. I've said all along, even after he asked to be traded, and news reports today are he's out there flirting with teams now. I really don't think they're going to trade him. I think what's going to happen is they're going to wait to the last minute, give him the money he wants, and then, because if they don't, if they just keep him, they could slap the franchise tag on him 2 years in a row. That's the thing. People think he's got the upper hand. He really doesn't. The only upper hand he has is the fact that the market has expanded so much after all this time has gone by, when they could have saved a lot of money by giving him the extension that he wanted when he wanted it. But that's a story for another day. I think that's all going to work itself out. He is a hold-in. He has been going to practice. He even dresses for practice, but I don't think he's been participating in the practices. So the Cowboys' fate is still kind of in Dak's hands. They got injuries already on defense. So even when they get Micah Parsons back, they're still going to be, a little bit challenged defensively. But I think George Pickens is going to be a big, big, big pickup for that offense. George Pickens could be a number one receiver on a whole bunch of teams in the NFL right now. And he's a 2 behind CeeDee Lamb. So that bodes well for the Cowboys offense.
All right. Bodes well for the Cowboys offense. Let's see what we got here. Following up on the Cowboys. My beloved San Francisco 49ers, Benny. President of Football Operations General Manager John Lynch. We came in with a 2024 ANP plus of minus 5.2. At least we're in the single digits. At least we're in the single digits now. I was just talking about how I love the GMs who actually played. I don't think there's a GM that played at the level of John Lynch in the NFL as a safety with Tampa Bay and with the Denver Broncos. Let's see here. Tampa Bay Super Bowl champion with them. He was a 4-time Pro Bowl team captain, known as one of the hardest hitting safeties in the NFL. Member of both the Buccaneers Ring of Honor and the Broncos Ring of Fame. So he was named the PFWA Executive of the Year in 2019. And now he's been to a couple Super Bowls, but we've got to get my Niners past the playing in the Super Bowl to the winning of the Super Bowl. So John Lynch, your job is cut out for you. Kyle Shanahan, head coach for my beloved San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, Kyle Michael Shanahan, born in Minnesota, went to the University of Texas, was a wide receiver at Duke and at Texas. He was the offensive coordinator, coach for Tampa Bay. He coached with the Texans, with the Redskins, the Browns, the Falcons, and now he is the head coach for my Niners. He has 3 NFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 4 NFC West titles. Known for outside zone run schemes, play action mastery, and pre-snap motion. Described as intense, cerebral, and innovative. He is the son of Mike Shanahan, 2-time Super Bowl winning head coach with the Broncos. So Kyle is my head coach, man. I'm not going to cry over him, but that's my head coach. Clay Kubiak, offensive coordinator. That name sounds familiar. Clay Kubiak. Out of Houston, Texas, went to Colorado State, was a quarterback there, and is now considered the offensive coordinator. You know that Shanahan is the real offensive coordinator there. So he's working closely with Brock Purdy and doing things like that, and setting up those playbooks. Emphasizes timing, spacing, and quarterback efficiency. Praised for developing backup quarterback Mac Jones. Is that what they praised him for?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Comes from a football family. His father was Gary Kubiak. His brother is Clint Kubiak. And then another brother is Klein Kubiak. So the Kubiaks got all the jobs in the NFL. They're just like snapping up all the jobs. What's that called again? Where they all go to your family?
Nepo.
Yeah, nepotism. Welcome back, Robert Saleh, my defensive coordinator. I'm really looking for big things now from my defense because Mr. Saleh is there. Mr. Robert Saleh, born Robert Jalal Saleh, out of Dearborn, Michigan. He was a 4-year starter at tight end at Northern Michigan. He has worked with the Texans, the Seahawks, the Jaguars, my Niners, the Jets, and back with my Niners again. Won Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks as part of their defensive staff, and known for his all gas, no brakes mantra. All gas, no brakes, Benny. That's what you can expect from the Niners this year. All gas, no brakes. Special team coordinators, Brant Boyer. Brant Boyer. Now, Brant, out of Ogden, Utah, went to Snow College and the University of Arizona. He was a linebacker. Let's see, played with the Dolphins his rookie season. He was a core special teamer and linebacker, and with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns. So there's your special team coordinator. And then we'll finish it up with you know who, one Mr. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, the first Mr. Irrelevant to sign a massive starting contract with the NFL. Brock has just made history all over the place. And just to say, let's see what the research came up on with Brock. First of all, he's 6'1", so not real tall. He was a Pro Bowl selection in 2023, and he's led the Niners to the Super Bowl in 2024. What can I tell? 2023, he led the NFL in passer rating, and he's been known for his poise and his instinct. And I'm hoping that he really can get together with some of his newer players that are with the Niners this year. So There's my San Francisco 49ers, Benny. What do you got on us?
You know I like Brock Purdy. I really, really do. Brock Purdy came up from the mud, as far as I'm concerned. From Mr. Irrelevant to being a play away from winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry that you can't say too much more about that guy. Mastered the offense of Kyle Shanahan. The Shanahans and the Kubiaks have been linked for a long time as some of the great offensive minds of the modern era, if you ask me. So I have nothing bad to say about Clay Kubiak or Kyle Shanahan. Love them both. Robert Sala's got his work cut out for him now. He's got to keep that defense together. I can't remember who all they drafted defensively this year in this last draft. I know they lost Dre Greenlaw, who just got hurt again, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah, he heard something. I don't think. Anyway, they still got Fred Warner. As long as you got Fred Warner, there's hope. But you got to fix that back end, man. Them corners and them safeties got to be tightened up to keep that defense right. But Christian McCaffrey is back, so all should be well for Shanahan. Should be putting lots and lots of points up on the board this year, and they're going to be a threat in that NFC West as usual.
They had Fred Warner on the. They were interviewing him at the training camps, and he's just sitting there. And I'm looking at him. I told my daughter, I said, "Come here. See that guy right there? That's what a middle linebacker is supposed to look like."
Yep.
I mean, the muscles is popping out everywhere. Oh my goodness, he just looks like a monster, man. So, all right, go get them Niners. Go get them. Next up, General Manager Darren, I'm going to say Muji, 2024, average net points plus of minus 4.3 for those New York Jets. Jets, Jets. The only team I had any family that played for. As far as Mr. Muji is concerned, he's out of Scottsdale, Arizona, went to San Diego State, played quarterback and wide receiver. Let's see here. He was a scouting intern with the Broncos, player personnel with the Broncos, and more Broncos. So from 2012 to 2024, he was in different positions with the Broncos and then became the general manager for the Jets. Praised by Jet owner Woody Johnson for his vision, talent evaluation, and leadership qualities. So that's Mr. Muji. We next have new head coach Aaron Glenn for those New York Jets. Mr. Glenn, as we know, left a really good job in the city. Texas A&M, then he was a cornerback. Jets, Texans, Cowboys, Jaguars, and Saints. So he's been around as a player. He was a personnel scout for the Jets. He was assistant coach for the Browns, DB coach for the Saints, defensive coordinator for the Lions before coming back to the Jets. So he was known for transforming Detroit's defense into a top-tier unit. Really? And mentoring stars like Aiden Hutchinson. You consider Detroit having a top-tier unit, Benny?
Yeah, they did, but they were all on the bench hurt.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he kind of kept them alive a little bit when everybody was hurt, didn't he?
He worked wonders with backups and dudes that probably wouldn't have seen the time of day.
Absolutely.
But that's only going to take you so far.
Well, let's see if his offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand, E-N-G Strand, Engstrand, can be of any help. Tanner, Benny. Tanner is out of San Diego, California, played for San Diego State, was a quarterback at Grossmont College and San Diego State. He has coached at the University of San Diego, at Michigan, coached in the XFL with the DC Defenders, then became an assistant passing game coordinator with the Lions and is now with the Jets. So he's been around for a hot minute. This is the first time we've had the UFL mentioned here. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time with that, but we'll come back to him as the offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes, another guy who knows how to keep a job, Mr. Steve Wilkes. Steve, I'll just say this about him because I know you can probably wax poetic on him, but he's out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and went to Appalachian State, was a defensive back, and played for the Charlotte Rage of the Arena Football League. Oh, we're really getting down into it now, Benny. He has coached with the Bears, the Chargers, the Panthers, the Cardinals, the Browns. As I said, this guy knows how to keep a job. He went back to the Missouri Tigers, back to the Panthers. He was with my Niners for a hot minute. And now with the Jets. So there you go, Mr. Wilkes. And special coordinator Chris Banjo, Banjo, Mr. Chris Banjo. Thing I'll say about Chris, his name is, now I'm gonna mess this up, but I'm gonna try. Ayo Kunmi Christopher Oluwasian Banjo.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Went out of Houston, went to Southern Methodist, was a special coordinator, was a special teams coordinator for the Jets 2025 to present. Played safety for the Packers, Saints, and Cardinals. So there's your special teams coordinator. And we're going to move quickly to Justin Fields, the quarterback. Brand new quarterback for the New York Jets, Justin Fields. Now, Benny, I'm not going to say a whole bunch about Justin because you probably will be able to fill in all of the details for Justin. He's 6'3", 227, very mobile, and he's going to have his work cut out for him. No doubt about it. Always like Justin. The question is his passing. Can he win from the pocket or does he have to run around? So we're going to find out a little bit more about that. But that wraps up the New York Jets Brain Trust. What do you got?
So remember when we were talking about the Patriots and I said it's between the Patriots and the Jets for second behind the Bills in the division? Think about this. Aaron Glenn, great player, played D-back play corner for the Jets. Really good defensive coordinator. A lot of success with the Detroit Lions, but first time head coach. Brings with him the passing game coordinator from the Lions. First time offensive coordinator will be playing with a quarterback, Justin Fields, who's still feeling his way, trying to find an offense that fits him. I don't know, bro. I don't know. This could work out, and it could be a disaster. Aaron Glenn is a defensive guy as a head coach. So he's dependent on a first-time OC that's never ascended to anything higher than a passing game coordinator.
Wow, good point.
Yeah, I mean, the guy could be a genius. I don't know. But it don't sound great. It sounds like it's going to be challenging, especially it'd be different if they had a veteran QB, you know?
Yeah.
But Justin Fields is still trying to, we'll see. He worked well with Jared Goff, but Justin Fields is completely different animal from Jared Goff.
No doubt.
So a lot of this is going to fall on Tanner Engstrand's head. And I got my fingers crossed for him. I don't want to see nobody fail. You know what I mean? But it's going to be tough. Jets defense, I think, is going to be in good shape. Steve Wilkes is a really good defensive coordinator. He's lost some jobs on a humbug, man. He lost a head coaching job with the Cardinals on some bull. You know what I mean? He's bounced around, but he's been good everywhere he goes. He just had some bad luck. But like you said, he keeps getting hired because people know He's got an extensive resume, and he gets the job done. Whether that'll be enough to keep them afloat, I don't know. So jury's still out for me on the Jets.
The jury is still out on the Jets, Jets. I also think it's ironic how Fields wound up with one team that plays at the same field that Wilson, Russell Wilson, plays at. They're both with the New York teams there. So I just think it's kind of weird how that wound up. All right. Who we got coming up here, Benny? Mickey Loomis, Executive Vice President, General Manager for those New Orleans Saints, 2024 AMP plus of minus 3.9. So we're getting closer to a team that actually would have a positive net points. Ain't quite there yet. But Mickey Loomis, Benny, University of Oregon and Wichita State. He, had various roles with Seattle. He was the director of football administration with the Saints. So he was with the Saints for a New Year. He's the EVP of basketball operations for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, I remember that. He's one of the few guys that slips over to the other professional league there. Under his legacy, they had 10 winning seasons, 9 playoff appearances, 7 division titles, 3 NFC championship berths, and 1 Super Bowl title. So he's been around a hot minute. He was part of the Saints bounty scandal, suspended for 8 games. So he's had a few little quirky things happen to him. But okay, there you go. It's kicking off the New Orleans Saints with Mickey Loomis. Head coach, Kellen Moore. All right, Kellen Moore. Talk about bouncing around a little bit. Kellen Moore, middle name is Christopher. Kellen Christopher Moore out of Proctor, Washington, went to Boise State, was a quarterback. He was a quarterback for the Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. At Boise State, he had a 50-3 record, the most wins by a quarterback in FBS history. He was a backup with Detroit and Dallas. So he's been around for a hot minute, known as a creative play designer who likes balance between run and pass. So Kellen Moore, new head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Doug Nussmeier, offensive coordinator for those Saints. Nussmeier, Benny. Mr. Nussmeier went to University of Idaho, was a quarterback for the Saints, Colts, Broncos, and Bears. Coached in the CFL, NCAA, NFL. He's been around for a hot minute. He was a quarterback coach for the BC Lions and the Ottawa Renegades. Did a little bit of time in college with Michigan State and Alabama. So we've got the UFL, and now we've got Canada in there, the Canadian League. Coached with the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Eagles on their Super Bowl team, and is now with the Saints.
Who, Nussmeier?
Nussmeier.
Wait, who are we talking about? Kellen
Doug
Moore?
Nussmeier.
He was on the Eagles?
Let's go back and double check. Hold on.
What was he? Passing game coordinator?
It says here with the Eagles, quarterback coach.
Quarterback coach. Okay.
All right.
So Kellen Moore brought him over.
Yeah, brought him with
Okay.
Brought his quarterback coach and made him the offensive coordinator. Brandon Staley is the DC down there. He's got some names with him down there. Brandon Staley. Let's see what we have on him here. Out of Perry, Ohio, went to the University of Dayton and Mercyhurst College, was a defensive coordinator for the Saints in 2025. Coached in college, linebacker coach for the Bears, the Broncos, defensive coordinator for the Rams, and spent some time as head coach for the Chargers and assistant coach for my San Francisco 49ers. So there you go. That's Brandon Staley, been around. Special teams coach Phil Galliano. Phil, if I remember correctly, Shippensburg University of Pennsylvania. He is out of Norristown, PA, Benny.
Okay, another local guy.
Another local guy. 9 seasons, including roles with the Buccaneers, Dolphins, and Saints. He was a 3-year starter at safety at Shippensburg. He set a school record with a 95-yard fumble return for a touchdown. There you go. So he's been around a little bit. He was a consultant coach at Penn State, Benny. So he's up there with your people, the Penn State Nittany, the Lions. And then, now, Benny, I don't know who's really going to be the starter. So I put Spencer Rattler as the most probable starter for the Saints. But that's going to be an issue for them. As far as Spencer Rattler is concerned, I won't say a whole lot. I'll let you cover him. He's a 6'2" quarterback. Went to Oklahoma and South Carolina. Around 150th pick for the New Orleans Saints at quarterback. He was a first-team All Big 12 for the Oklahoma Sooners. Led them to the Big 12 championship in 2020. Set a school record for completion percentage at 67.5%. So, NFL career, he's touchdown to interception ratio is 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So I don't quite know what's going to happen. They've got Tyler Shook and Jake Hayner down there. Nobody of which I think is particularly notable, but that would wrap it up for the New Orleans Saints with Spencer Rattler. What do you got?
Okay. Hayner will never be anything more than a backup. Spencer Rattler will never be any more than a backup. Tyler Shook is not necessarily the answer, but he's the answer right now. You got a first-time head coach. Taylor Shook is the best they got, and they just got him in the draft. I believe they're going to sink or swim with Tyler Shook. There were a lot of people that spoke very highly about him during the draft. I forget what round he went in, but he was a later round guy. And there were some other people who said in college that, he was kind of like a regular dude. So it remains to be seen, but I think he's having a pretty good camp so far. So I expect him to end up being the starter by the time it's all said and done and the season's getting ready to start. Brandon Staley was the head coach for the Chargers for a little while. His problem was game time management, clock management, decision-making, things like that. In other words, he ain't no field general, okay? But as far as running the defense is concerned, I think he's going to be pretty good at that. And he had already been pretty good at that before he got the head coaching job. I believe he'll continue to do that. What he has to work with, though, is the question. The Saints are not in good shape. Brandon Nussmeier, yeah, he came over with Kellen Moore from the Eagles. He was a quarterback coach. So he's a first-time OC. I don't know how much they're going to get out of him. He'll be in the quarterback room. And he'll be going over film and game plans. But Kellen Moore is going to be calling the plays. Kellen Moore's been an OC for many years for the Cowboys, the Eagles, and I don't know who else. And being a head coach for the first time, there's no way he's going to hand over play calling to anybody else, especially on the team that's going to have to really dig their way out of a huge hole. So, yeah, I don't see the Saints having a very good season, but it's the first year for Kellen Moore as the head coach, and he's got nowhere to go but up.
Nowhere to go but up, eh? I don't know, Benny.
How quickly he goes up is the question.
Somebody said never say it can't get worse.
Oh, jeez. Trying to be positive, man.
Trying to be positive. Well, I'm positive about one thing, Benny. We're coming up on the last of today's brain trust groups, and that would be the Indianapolis Colts with general manager Chris Ballard coming out of 2024 with an ANP plus of minus 3.7. Chris Ballard, Benny. Now, Chris Ballard is out of Galveston, Texas, went to the University of Wisconsin and Madison. He was an assistant coach at Texas A&M. He was a scout for the Bears, a director of player personnel for the Chiefs, and now general manager for the Colts. Very methodical guy. And the Colts tenure since he's been there, 54, 60, and 1. So he's got his work cut out for him, definitely, as far as that's concerned. So there you go. Let's get back to it. Chris Ballard, head coach Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen. We know where his past led to. He is out of Sacramento, went to the University of Nevada, was a head coach. Oh, he's currently head coach for the Colts. He, let's see, was a quarterback in college, played for the UNLV Running Rebels. He's got time with the Chargers, the Browns, the Chargers, the Eagles, and now the Colts. So he was offensive coordinator for the Eagles and then moved into that head coaching job with the Colts. In addition, we have offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter. Jim Bob Cooter. For as far as Jim Bob is concerned, he's went to the University of Tennessee, was an offense, played backup quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers, mainly been a coach. Tennessee, the Colts, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Lions, the Jets, was a consultant for the Eagles, and passing game coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so let's see here. Played a key role in developing Trevor Lawrence's passing game in Jacksonville. Uh-oh. Sometimes they give him kudos. You go, I don't know about that kudo. But we'll see. We shall see. Jim Bob Cooter, offensive coordinator. Defense, Lou Anarumo. Lou Anarumo. That's a classic football name that we've all known. Lou, out of Staten Island, New York, went to Wagner College, has coached with Wagner, Purdue, the Dolphins, the Giants. He was a DB coach, the Bengals, and now defensive coordinator with the Colts. Described as a defensive wizard and mad scientist who has ability to tailor schemes to his opponents. Brian Mason, special teams coordinator for the Colts. Brian, as far as Brian's concerned, he is out of Zionsville, Indiana, went to Denison University. Basically, he has a coaching career more so than a playing career. At the Denison, he coached at Denison University, Bluffton University, and Kent State. Also Purdue, Ohio State. So he got a lot of college in his background. He was director of recruiting at Cincinnati. And so there you go with your special teams coordinator. And then last but not least, Anthony Richardson. And I don't even know if he's going to be the starter because he's up against your old quarterback who might actually outplay him this year. Anthony Richardson Anthony Richardson, just to say a couple things about him before we go. Okay. 6'4", 244, Anthony Deshaun Richardson out of Miami. Went to the University of Florida. Pick number 4 in the first round in 2023. Known for elite athleticism. 2022 stats, 2,549 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 9 rushing touchdowns. So here, you know what's going on with him. I'm going to let you talk about him, but if he don't watch out, Daniel Jones is going to take his spot, as far as I understand. Well, you got him.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Now let's remember Shane Steichen came up with the Eagles. He was the offensive coordinator there for the Eagles. So Jim Bob, what he's got coordinators that have been around for a long time, which is smart when you're a new young head coach. And if you're especially a new young offensive minded head coach, you want to get a veteran OC who can help you navigate your way as a head coach and keep you sharp as a coordinator. And you want a veteran DC who knows the ropes and has been around, so you don't have to worry about your defense too much because your expertise is offense. So he's done the right thing in the guys that he hired. Anaruma, we know his name. We know he's good. The problem is the last couple of years he was with Cincinnati Bengals, and the GM there didn't do him any favors getting him talent. They've struggled on defense for the last couple of years very badly. Even though Trey Hendrickson did a great job and is now fighting for a new contract because of all the sacks he's got over the last couple of years, making himself a highly sought after edge rusher. But that's basically all they got.
Yeah.
As far as named defensive players are concerned. So he's got his work cut out for him too. Quarterback wise, Anthony Richardson. I thought Anthony Richardson was going to come in and take over and tear this thing up. But injuries have really slowed him down. So between injuries and really getting his hands around Steichen's offense, if he's not careful, he's going to be a bigger Justin Fields. You know what I mean? More famous for his running than his passing. Daniel Jones, however, seems to be doing pretty well under Shane Steichen's offense. Seems to suit him. And he's having a pretty good camp. So again, the window for Anthony Richardson is slowly closing. It's closing slowly because he was a high draft pick. And physically, he's got all the tools. You know, this guy's supposed to be the next Cam Newton. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think the Colts are going to struggle some this year too, just like the Saints. So I can't say too much about them till this quarterback thing shakes out.
All right. Expecting the Colts to struggle, so we'll see how that all works. All right, Benny. Well, that wraps up the Brain Trust for the show for today. We've got a couple more shows that are coming up on that. Hopefully this was informative and helpful for people as well as entertaining. Now, we move on to the next part of the show. You've got some comments and some things to talk about as far as the summer camps and things.
Yeah, just a couple of things. So, you know, over the last few years, somebody came up with the idea, this kind of took hold, of inviting the team on your preseason schedule into your city and into your training camp a week early and actually sharing the practice field with this other team so that your players get to actually go against an adversary other than their own teammates. Now, they do a lot of things in these joint practices. They work on special teams. They work on their kicking games. They go 7-on-7. and they go 11 on 11, basically what you would consider a scrimmage. It's not considered. It's game situation, but it's scrimmage. So the coaches are kind of out on the field with the players. Coaches can stick their head in the huddle, just like a scrimmage, like when we play rough touch and stuff. You know what I mean? They can stop things and go over things because it's practice. Let's face it. But they do get to go 11 on 11. Now, there's no live tackling. What they do is what they call thud.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So if a running back comes through the hole and a linebacker lines him up, he would bang him, wrap his arms, and let him go. They don't take anybody to the ground.
Okay.
But there is some hitting.
Okay.
And blocking is live.
Okay.
So it gets contentious sometimes. In fact, the Patriots and the Commanders had a little joint practice, and when they started their 11 on 11, first of all, both coaches from the Commanders, Dan Quinn and Mike Vrabel, said a lot of positive things about it, but it was very, very physical. Even though there was no live tackling, the thudding was pretty tough. The blocking was pretty tough. Jaden Daniels looked extremely good, connected quite a bit with Zach Ertz. There's a name we haven't heard in a long time. Zach Ertz is a gray beard, man, but he's still playing and getting the job done as a tight end. Also, running back Brian Robinson played extremely well, showed real good vision. And the offensive line for the Commanders was opening up nice holes for him. Like I said, both coaches were impressed with their quarterbacks. Drake May looked especially good in these joint practices. And I even got numbers on Drake May. 15 and 19. He did throw one interception. These practices, of course, they're practice. So you're not going to see a lot of video. Sometimes video gets put out by, newspaper guys or reporters that happen to be there to practice. But the teams don't generally put game tape out like they would for a real game. So it's hard to find stuff. But I was able to scrape up some numbers on some people. Daniels had a little trouble in the red zone. But other than that, between the 20s, he looked really good. And like I said, Drake May look really good. Oh, I was talking about the physicality of it. There was a skirmish, and Mike Vrabel jumped in the skirmish and came out with a little bloody cheek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but, that's football, man. That's football. The other interesting joint practice was held between the Browns and the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young was reported to have looked really, really good. All five of the Browns, they got five quarterbacks. All five of them played, but only two are going to play in the preseason game. So the way I hear it,
You saying Sean played?
No.
That when you said all five.
Deshaun would be 6.
Oh, Deshaun is 6?
Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett hobbled his butt out there and threw a couple balls. Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and Snoop Hundley.
Wow. 6.
They all played in the joint practice.
Okay.
They all did fairly well. Pickett threw a couple TDs, and Dylan Gabriel threw one. Shador was actually 4 of 7. Again, snaps are limited. They got a lot of quarterbacks. They're really trying to work their way through this thing. So because Pickett is still hobbled and because they don't want to put Flacco out there, and again, I'm telling you, Dylan Gabriel is the guy they want to go with. He's not going to play in this game. He's not going to play in the preseason game. The way I hear it is Shador is going to play the whole first half. Snoop Hundley's going to play the second half. Now, if they change their minds and they give a couple snaps to Dylan Gabriel, we'll see. But I'm telling you, man, that's the guy they're looking for. That's the guy they're going to give the nod to. Shador is still number 4 in the depth chart. He's still yet to take a first-team snap. And I doubt that many starters are going to play in this preseason game. So he's still kind of behind the 8 ball. But what I'm hearing is the Panthers may put quite a few starters out on defense. And he has taken snaps against the Browns' number one defense. So if he comes out and shows off, he's got a whole half to do it. He might be able to get the coaches to go, but it's all up to him. So my fingers are crossed. I'm hoping for good things for Shador. I said Commanders, Patriots. We did Browns, Panthers. Broncos, 49ers are practicing today. Tuesday, the Rams went to Oxnard, California to visit the Cowboys practice facility. That was a pretty good one, too. Rams offense was led by Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, Matt Stafford's got a back problem. And I don't know how serious this back problem is, but people are worried. They're saying he's hurt. They're not saying how bad he's hurt, but nobody has seen him. He doesn't come to practice.
Epidural.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad.
Yeah, he hasn't been on the practice field at all. I don't even know if he's in the facility. I assume he's in the facility getting treatment, if nothing else. But nobody has seen him. So we got to wait and see how bad this really is. But yeah, they got Jimmy G. I don't know how good that is. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, he looks solid when they went up against the Cowboy defense. Running back Kyron Williams looked great. He really stood out in the run game. Defensively, they challenged Dallas's run game, although Javonte Williams had a couple of nice runs, nice breakaway runs. But for the most part, the Rams held them under control. And the Cowboys' passing game was pretty good. Pickens looked good. CeeDee Lamb looked good. But they struggled in the red zone. So we'll see what happens in their preseason game. I believe that's this weekend. I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday. But old Jimmy G. Jimmy G is back. We get to see him again. So that's about it.
Let me say this before we go. I think it's going to be interesting because Shador is going to be playing with backups, and that's who he's been playing with. So this is for familiarity.
Oh, yes. He's got that going.
Yeah. There's a level there. So, all right. Well, look, man, this was a great show. We covered a lot of ground, and I'm looking forward to it. And remind everybody to push the subscribe button and the notification bell. And follow us up at www.benandbarryonfootball.com.